sa PTV.
We warmly welcome you to the Convergence Summit on Economic Resilience, Empowering MSMEs, and Safeguarding the Vulnerable Middle Class. It is my honor to introduce the Presidential Advisor for Poverty Alleviation. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Secretary Lorenzo Larry G. Gadon for his keynote address on the government's role in safeguarding the middle class.
Thank you, Mr. JP. Ang purpose natin for this forum is to come up with policies and programs, suggestions, and comparison of our ideas so that we can recommend it to the Office of the President so that we can further help MSMEs and makapagbigay pa tayo ng mga trabaho sa ating mga kababayan. In fact, the jobs generated by MSMEs is 62% of our Filipino workforce. 62% of our workforce are employed under the MSMEs. So, kung malaki pa natin ang scope MSMEs, well, as of now, 99.5% ang but I mean, bigger in size would help create more jobs. So, itataas natin dito yung 62%. No? 62% out of the 96% employment rate, 62 dyan galing sa MSMEs. Imagine that, no? That is why President Marcos has also been aggressive in directing the government to support productive economic activity, and the direction is clear. Government must not stand in the way of enterprise. Government must create the conditions for enterprise to succeed. And at the same time, the President is pushing beyond assistance towards self-reliance through MSME financing from institutions like the SB Corp, yung Small Business Corporation, napakaganda ng kanilang programa, and the Land Bank, the Agricenso is really helping the economy, and it helps a lot of farmers and fishermen, and the DBP, and the DTI training and the market access program of the DTI, and the digitalization. If you will notice, just a few days ago, pinupush talaga ang digitalization, even for small businesses, even in sari-sari stores, kasi that will help propel the economy to a higher standard or to higher level. At saka siyempre, as I have discussed, the support for agriculture and yung mga livelihood assistance na ginagawa ng DOLE and ng DSWD. No? So, this progress must now be protected and accelerated. A family may have moved above the poverty line, but one serious illness or one job loss or one disaster or one failed business activity can still erase years of hard work. Kaya yun ang dapat natin maproteksyonan ngayon. No? Hindi lang tayo mag-i-aim na maiangat natin sila from the poverty incidents, but we must also come up with policies and solutions how to maintain their status and possibly to move to another level. No? So that is precisely why we brought everyone here together today to connect policies, financing, enterprise development, technology, and market access in one place, and to turn the administration's economic direction into practical opportunities for Filipino entrepreneurs. Ang financing must, however, mean simply encouraging people to borrow. Pero ang mahalaga ay yung tamang pagpapahiram, hindi basta pahiram lang. Kundi we must also see to it that the mechanisms are in place to prevent them from absconding so that the capital may be recycled. So capital must be matched with capability, markets, technology, and responsible lending. And of course, proper guidance, which the other agencies of the government are doing. We therefore want this summit to be practical. We want every participant to leave with clearer answers. Ano ang programa para sa akin? Ano ang kailangan kong ihanda? Magkano ang tunay na halaga ng pangungutang? At saan ako lalapit pagkatapos ng forum ito? Marami dito mga entrepreneurs and mga business owners, small business owners na hinihintay din na magkaroon ng kasagutan yung mga tanong na yan. And for our office, for the Office of the President and the Office of the Presidential Advisor for Poverty Alleviation, this convergence should mean hindi lamang magkakasama sa isang event ang mga ahensya at kumpanya, dapat ay magkakaugnay ang kanilang serbisyo mula impormasyon, training at business registration hanggang sa financing at market access and follow-through. Our goal is not only to help people escape poverty. Our goal is to make sure that once they rise, they have the opportunity and protection to keep moving forward. In the spirit of President Marcos' Bagong Pilipinas, let us build an economy where government enables initiative, businesses create opportunity, and growth reaches families that have worked hard to improve their lives. Maraming salamat at magandang umaga sa ating lahat.
Very much, Secretary Lorenzo Larry Gadon. Before the government and private institutions can design effective programs, it is important to understand the conditions that make households economically vulnerable. To lead this discussion, we welcome a distinguished researcher who has contributed significantly to the country's understanding of poverty, inequality, social protection, and human development. Joining us virtually, let us all welcome Dr. Jose Ramon G. Albert, Senior Research Fellow of the Philippine Institute for Development Studies.
The title of my talk already gives away my main message. Many Filipino families, including many in our emerging middle class. How large exactly is our middle class? And I had to explain that there's no single standard definition of the middle class. At PIDS, I started grouping households according to multiples of the poverty line, and particularly defined middle-income households as those with per capita incomes between twice and 12 times the official poverty line. The data that you see on the tables show how households are distributed across the low, middle, and upper income groups in 2023. The middle income class has been growing over the decades when you compare these figures way back, even going up to 2000 or even earlier in 1991. But it remains far from the majority that many assumed it to be. And they're certainly not resilient, and its lower segment sits uncomfortably close to the low-income group below it. So what does the middle class look like? Compared with poor and low-income families, middle-class households are smaller, with far better educated household members, and with members who are much more likely to hold permanent wage employment, often in services. More than a quarter of middle-income adults are college graduates, and 82% of their employed members aged 15 to 64 have permanent jobs. But look closely at the savings figures. Median savings rates in the middle class appear healthy, yet the cushion is thin for its lower segment, and the food expenditures are still taking 2/5 of total spending. The middle class looks secure on paper, but a good part of it, especially the lower income group, lower middle class, has limited buffers. So when a serious shock arrives, like COVID, or when a major income earner in the family loses a job, or when a family member gets into serious illness like cancer, or when a death occurs, vulnerability is often assumed to be the same as poverty, but it isn't. As we would expect, an overwhelming majority of poor households are vulnerable, as much as 80%. What surprises many is that 44% of low-income households who aren't poor also face high risk of falling into poverty. Even among the lower middle class, roughly 1 in 10 households is vulnerable to poverty. Genuine economic security emerges only as households approach the upper middle and high income groups. Vulnerability is also unevenly distributed across space and across household types. Rural households face a 43% vulnerability rate, more than double the 20% in urban areas. In BARM, vulnerability reaches even 76%, the highest in the country. Beyond geography, the risk is higher for households with several younger children and for those whose heads work in agriculture, as well as for those with household heads who have little formal education. These patterns tell us where prevention efforts will matter most, and they overlap closely with the areas and sectors where micro and small enterprises are the main sources of livelihood. So why are so many Filipino families at risk of falling into poverty? Our study points to four structural drivers. First, labor market informality. Many workers, including most of those in micro and small enterprises, have no stable contracts, no social insurance, and no employer benefits. Second, health shocks. Out-of-pocket health spending remains very high despite universal health coverage. And a serious illness can wipe out years of savings. I know this personally from my own experience, as I have had colorectal cancer twice. Third, climate and disaster risks. We live in one of the most disaster-prone countries in the entire world, and low-income families bear the brunt of typhoons, floods, and droughts. Fourth, limited asset accumulation. Many families exit poverty without building any buffer. The bottom quarter of low-income households saves almost close to nothing. What we know about our flagship social protection program, the evidence on the Pantawid Pamilyang Pilipino program, or 4Ps, is encouraging. Beneficiary households show vulnerability rates that are 15 to 35 percentage points lower than comparable poor households outside the program. The 4Ps clearly reduces acute vulnerability, but there is a critical gap. Vulnerability remains high as households approach program exit. Cash transfers reduce risks while they last, but they cannot on their own guarantee lasting economic security. Social protection therefore needs to evolve from reactive poverty relief toward proactive resilience building, and from static targeting of the poor towards dynamic coverage that includes vulnerable segments of society. The evidence we've shown you so far points to four policy priorities. First, we need to strengthen shock-responsive social protection so that assistance automatically expands across, every time we get crisis instead of waiting for new appropriations. Because as we know, government appropriations tend to be slow to sort out. Second, we need to expand social insurance for informal workers through subsidized contributions and simplified enrollment in health, unemployment, and pension schemes. Third, and most relevant to this summit, promote stable livelihoods and upward mobility by investing in skills, active labor market programs, and support for MSMEs. Micro and small enterprises employ the bulk of vulnerable workers, so raising their productivity and gradually formalizing them is vulnerability reduction at scale. Fourth, we need to institutionalize vulnerability monitoring alongside poverty monitoring so that government has early warning of welfare reversals rather than discovering them years later. To conclude, the Philippines has made significant progress against poverty, but we haven't gotten to the finish line yet. Nearly 30% of our households, including sizable parts of the emerging middle class, remain at risk of sliding into future poverty. Escaping poverty for the poor is certainly not enough. Genuine resilience requires shock-responsive protection, broader social insurance, stable livelihoods anchored on productive MSMEs, and a regular monitoring of vulnerability. If this summit helps push our institutions toward prevention and not just cure, it will have done a great service to Filipino families. Thank you very much for your attention and my congratulations to OPAPA and to all participants of this Convergence Summit. Maraming salamat po ulit, and I wish you all a productive discussion.
Thank you very much, Dr. Albert, for that data-driven press.
When you testified that the individual's identity will become clearer, does it mean, sir, that the Bureau is now focused on confirming or verifying the identity of a particular individual rather than determining whether such person exists?
Bakit po natin tinutukoy, tinahanap? Kailangan natin siyang makuha, hindi upang sabihin na kami talaga ay nag-usap ni Vice Presidente. Yung pag-uusap na may papatay at hindi naman nagawa, wala naman po tayong pinag-uusapan na krimen doon. Pero ano po ba ang tinutugunan namin sa paghahanap namin sa tao na yon? Yun na po yung sinasabi namin that we have to address the issue of national security, the safety of the President, which is a primary mandate of the National Bureau of Investigation.
Another proud moment for PTV. Wagi ang Rise and Shine Pilipinas bilang Best Magazine Show. Sa kauna-unahang Famous Broadcast Awards. Congratulations to our fun morning barkada. At tuloy-tuloy lang ang pagbibigay ng impormasyon at inspirasyon para sa bayan. For our next food crawl,
Sana nasi-shake ko siya ng maayos.
tara na sa Another Chibugan kasama ang certified foodie na si Leslie Ordinario.
Wow! Isa pa.
Ngayong linggo, alas 10 ng umaga.
Ang sarap!
Ang sarap.
Dito lang sa PTV.
To discuss the corporation's programs and its role in expanding access to capital for Filipino entrepreneurs, please welcome Mr. Robert C. Bastillo, President and Chief Executive Officer of the Small Business Corporation.
So kami po sa SB Corp, in our humble position as kami po pala yung mandated na tumulong sa mga micro, small, and medium enterprises. Of course, ang Land Bank at saka DBP also have their mandates to help. Pero may limit po yung aming pautang individually. Beyond that, Land Bank at DBP naman yung sasalo. Kami po yung hanggang mga 20 million pesos na walang collateral, 15 million. Beyond that, mga bangko na. Sa micro, nakapagpautang na po kami in the past 10 years, lalo na in the past 3 years, na 557,000 sa pamamagitan largely yan ng mga partners namin. Total number of borrowers, 583,492. Ang kasalukuyan naming nakalabas na pautang ay 19 o almost 20 billion. 105 billion na po yung napautang over the past 10 years, especially in the past 3 years. Partner financing institution 697 na po, no? Pero panawagan namin Secretary, kulang po yung aming pondo sa laki ng market. Meron po kaming tier 1 na budget na 1.5 billion every year. Nagiging 500 million lang minsan, nagiging 1 billion lang minsan. Yun ay para sa micro-lending. So, kahit yun man lang ma-ensure. At saka, lalo na po ngayon nung nagkaroon ng krisis. Grabe yung experience namin, surge ng application pamula sa mga MSMEs. Almost 5 times ang increase in application. So, grabe yung requirement for financing ng ating malilit na negosyo since April nung nagsimula itong ito. So, we're trying to manage that. Of course, we welcome any additional funds para makatulong tayo sa mga nakabinbin. Huwag po kayong masyado mainip kasi Sa dami na hindi po ayuda, sabi nga ni Secretary, yung financing hindi naman ayuda. Panawagan din ng mga bangko na dapat magbayad tayo na maayos. Ang feeling namin, kaya mabilis ang may search ng application kasi maybe out of desperation or maybe siyempre gobyerno is trying to reach out. So we'd like to remind also everyone na with responsibility ang ating pagpapautang. May proseso kami, checkin namin yung dokumento, business information assessment yun, tapos yung credit standing, kung kayo ba may tinakbong 100 utang, lalabas po sa record nyo yun. Kung 3 lamang, pwede pa natin pag-usapan. Financial performance assessment, ito na i-evaluate. Magkano ba ang talagang kaya mo o dapat ipahiram sa'yo and then i-release. Sa ngayon po, meron kaming credit scoring system na mabilis. Pagkasubmit nyo, pagka-click nyo, sasabihin sa iyo, ito ang probability na ikaw ay magbabayad o hindi on time. So, batay sa probability of default ninyo or probability of past due, may initial approval kayo. Kunyari, nag-apply ka na 1 million, tapos, ang taas ng probability of 62% probability na past due ka. So, provisional approval, let's say, 300,000. And then yung pwedeng magbago yun, pwedeng lumiit, pwedeng lumaki, depende sa final assessment. Pero at least, kung walang problema sa papel nyo, walang problema sa sinabit ninyo, maasahan nyo na yung provisional approval na yun, kung payag kayo, yun na yun. Unless tatumbling-tumbling kayo sa harap namin, patutunayan nyo na mas malaki ang kailangan nyo, medyo tatagal pa tayo. Mabuti pang kunin nyo yun. Pagkatapos, after 6 months, ma-prove nyo na nagbabayad kayo regularly, suki na kayo, mamahalin na namin kayo, pwede nyo nang dagdagan ang utang nyo. Amen? So kapag mahal nyo kami, mas mahal namin kayo. Alright, thank you po.
To present the Development Bank of the Philippines programs and perspectives on enterprise financing, please welcome Mr. Rustico Noli D. Cruz, Vice President for Program Development and Management Group of the DBP.
Allow me to provide you context by sharing our mandate and priority trust. So as a development bank, we cannot be everything and everywhere, and thus we concentrate our limited resources to the following thematic areas, namely infrastructure and logistics, environment and climate change, social services and community development, and micro, small, and medium enterprises. So our development programs for agriculture provides grant and loans. Farmers, fisherfolk, and agrarian reform beneficiaries, including their families, can avail of training and capacity building grant from our partner state universities and colleges and government agencies. The objective of the Magsasaka Mangingisda Training Opportunity for Rural Development Program is to help farmers and fisher folks acquire additional or advanced knowledge and skills in agricultural farming business. By then, they are prepared either to be employed or pursue their own businesses. So in terms of the loan, we finance up to 90% of the total project costs with interest ranging from 0 to 5% per annum and loan tenor of up to 10 years based on cash flow. These programs have minimal documentary requirements and streamlined loan processing. On the other hand, for programs on industries, we do support projects in power, water, and sanitation, transport, waste, healthcare, education, manufacturing, and processing. Here we provide up to 15-year loan tenor with flexible terms and conditions. The grace period of 3 to 5 years depending on the project that they are in. And we support working capital requirement and also the capital expenditure requirement. We do finance up to 70% of the total project costs. So it's a quite short presentation, but I would entertain questions later on. So thank you for your attention.
Ang lifespan o buhay ng bawat kongreso ay nag-uumpisa at nagwawakas sa eleksyon ng mga miyembro ng House of Representatives ng Pilipinas. Ang bilang ng mga kongreso, halimbawa, ang kasalukuyang ika-20 kongreso, ay batay sa dami ng mga kongresong idinaos mula nang ideklara ang kasarinlan ng Pilipinas noong ika-4 ng Hulyo taong 1946 sa panahon ng Commonwealth. Hinahati ang buhay ng Kongreso sa 3 regular na sesyon na ang bawat isa ay katumbas ng isang calendar year at ang bawat sesyon ay nagsisimula sa sona ng Pangulo. Abangan ang ika-5 State of the Nation Address ni Pangulong Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. ngayong Hulyo dito sa inyong PTV.
Tara na sa masayang mundo ng paglikha. Kung gusto niyo namang balikan ang mga obrang ginawa natin this week,
iba-ibang DIY projects, fun trivias at artworks. Para sa lahat ng kids at mga kids at heart.
Samahan si Kuya Joseph, Elia at Cholo sa kanilang exciting art adventures at bigyang kulay ang buhay.
Artsy Craftsy!
Artsy Craftsy, tuwing Sabado, alas 10:30 ng umaga. Dito lang sa PTV.
Access to capital is necessary for business growth, but financing alone does not guarantee enterprise success. MSMEs also require sound business planning, mentorship, product development, market access, regulatory guidance, and connections to government and private sector support networks. Through its programs, the Department of Trade and Industry supports MSMEs in business development, mentoring, market promotion, product improvement, formalization, and competitiveness. To lead this discussion, please welcome Ms. Janica Christine E. Macaraig, Trade Industry Development Specialist, Bureau of SME Development of the Department of Trade and Industry.
So good afternoon, everyone. And in behalf of the Department of Trade and Industry, we would like to thank Secretary Gadon for inviting us for this Convergence Summit. And allow me to share po yung ang aming initiative sa DTI through the Kapatid Mentor Me program to help build resilient MSMEs through mentorship, market access, and enterprise-focused social protection. So, ano po ba yung reality on the ground? So, madalas po ang ating mga MSMEs, ito po yung mga factors na nakikita nilang na humahadlang dun sa kanilang pag-progress. So, first po, syempre meron po tayong inflation. Pangalawa, yung health emergency, especially yung mga owners po, or yung mga mismong MSMEs po yung mga nakakaranas. Pangalawa, yung business disruptions or yung mga fires and calamities or even closures. And then the fourth po, yung climate and economic shocks. So ito po yung beyond dun sa mga entrepreneurs or MSMEs na yung kontrolado po nila. So with DTI, ang aming goal po is hindi lang mag-start ng business but to help them survive, be resilient, and grow despite po dun sa mga factors po na nararanasan po nila. So ano po na-address ng DTI itong mga challenges na ito or papaano po ginagawa or mga initiatives ng DTI para hindi mag-slide back dun sa poverty line ang ating mga MSMEs. So, isa sa mga programa po ng DTI ang Kapatid Mentor Me program. So, sa Kapatid Mentor Me program, yung mga existing entrepreneurs po, meron po silang kakayahan na mag-apply para mag-undergo ng 10 weeks or 2 months po na mentoring program na pag-aaralan po ulit nila yung 10 modules po or different areas ng entrepreneurship. This is in partnership po with the Philippine Center of Entrepreneurship Go Negosyo. So sila po yung nagde-deploy ng mga experienced mentors or academicians na makakatulong po sa ating mga MSMEs. And with that po, meron din po tayo sa Kapatid Mentor Me program na segment, yung Government Services Forum, na nagkakaroon ng access or link ang ating mga MSMEs sa mga government and private organizations na programs, yung mga hindi pa po nila alam, and also yung mga agencies or programs po for finance or yung mga loan assistance. So, hindi po si Kapatid Mentor Me program na nagbibigay directly ng loans. Usually, yun kasi nagiging misconception with the program. But kami po yung nagbibigay ng link para sa kanilang lahat. So, for the mentorship naman po, ito po yung setup sa ating programa. Unang-una yung business mentoring. Meron po tayong ulit na one-on-one guidance with the seasoned entrepreneurs or industry experts na dinedeploy ng ating key partner implementer, which is the PCE Go Negosyo. And then, once po na nag-undergo na sila ng program or yung 10-module training program, itong mentoring conversations po natin, magiging actionable roadmap, yung business improvement plan. So usually po, ito po yung ginagawang basis ng ating mga MSMEs kung ano po ba yung magiging pathway nila. For example, to 3 to 5 years or ano ba yung mga natutunan nila during dun sa program po. And then, meron naman din po tayong entrepreneurial mindset. So, before po mag-start yung technical na mentoring, meron po tayong ginagawang confidence and discipline na portion po or phase ng ating program para po magkaroon po yung mga MSMEs natin ng magkaroon ng sound business decisions po. And then lastly, meron din po tayong peer learning. So, yung mga mentees or mga MSMEs na nag-undergo ng program, hindi lang sila sa mentors matututo. Usually, nagkakaroon sila ng community na dun sila nagtutulungan, dun sila nagbibigay ng advice, recommendations. So, over time, yung mga mentees nagiging mentor para sa mga susunod pang mga gustong sumali sa programa. So for market access naman po, si DTI, marami po siyang mga iba't ibang opportunities for the MSMEs para dun sa mga gusto nilang mag-reach ng wider market. So meron po tayong yung ating Bureau of Market Development, Promotions and Auto. And then meron tayong mga regional and provincial offices na nagbibigay ng market access or promotional platforms and product development support. So meron po dito si One Town, One Product. So yung ating mga local products, dinadala natin siya sa nationwide market. And then, of course, meron tayong mga trade fairs sa ating mga MSMEs through the national, provincial, and regional offices para magkaroon ng face-to-face exposure po ang ating mga MSMEs sa buyers, distributors, and investors. And then, with the business matching links, so binibigyan po natin sila ng opportunity din through the Export Marketing Bureau din po na to go global if in case or kung alam nilang ready na sila sa wider market. So meron po tayong bureau na pwede pong makatulong sa kanila. And then sa last pillar naman po yung social protection. So meron tayong 4 areas po or 4 area of anchor po para po dito. So una yung formalization. So binibigyan po natin mga business ng legal recognition or ano po ba yung mga specific na government requirements para mag-start sila ng business. And then meron din naman po tayong access to finance. Nandiyan po ang ating SB Corp para po tumulong po sa pag-offer ng loans or capital entrepreneurs for recovery, working capital, or expansion. And then for the business continuity po, so for example po, nagkaroon ng or naka-experience ang MSME ng sunog or any calamity, meron po tayong pangkabuhayan sa pagbangon at ginhawa or the PPG program. So nagbibigay si DTI ng livelihood starter kits to micro-entrepreneurs para ma-recover sa disaster, para hindi sila mag-start ng zero, pero kung ano yung na-build na nila, tutulungan ni DTI para makabangon sila. And lastly po, meron po tayong yung employment generation. Of course, yun po yung main goal ng DTI through capacity building programs na hindi lang sa paglago ng kanilang mga negosyo, kung hindi makatulong din sila through paglaki ng employment po ng kanilang komunidad. Ayan. So for DTI po, this Convergence Summit po is what makes a complete support system for entrepreneurs possible. So with the mentorship, financing, and local government support and market linkages, nare-reinforce po yung lahat ng stakeholders para makatulong po sa pagiging resilient or mas maging equip ang ating mga MSMEs. So that's all po, Secretary. Thank you po.
Unang ginamit ang katagang State of the Nation sa 1935 Constitution, kung saan inaatasan ang Pangulo ng Pilipinas na i-report sa Kongreso ang State of the Nation. Kasunod nito, ginamit ni dating Pangulong Manuel Rojas ang Message on the State of the Nation bilang pamagat ng kanyang talumpati sa Kongreso noong January 27, 1947. Bagamat hindi na inilagay sa 1987 Constitution ang katagang State of the Nation, ang paggamit nito ay itinuturing na tradisyon sa kasaysayan ng politika sa bansa. Abangan ang ikalimang State of the Nation Address ni Pangulong Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. ngayong Hulyo dito sa inyong PTV. From interests to hobbies, get to know your favorite athletes off the court. Kasama si Jamaica Bayaka. Profiles. Dito lang sa PTV Sports. Health Watch. Alertong pangkalusugan. Balisa at laging nag-aalala? Kapit lang. Hindi ka nag-iisa, kaibigan. Valid ang iyong nararamdaman. Tandaan lang ang 12S kontra stress. Self-awareness. Pakiramdaman ang sarili mo at maging sensitibo sa iyong mga pangangailangan at nararamdaman. Scheduling. Hatiin ng tama ang oras mo at nang hindi ma-overwhelm sa trabaho. Siesta. Deserve mong magpahinga. Kaya gawin mo itong regular na bahagi ng iyong araw. Speak. Huwag mong kimkimin. Magsabi ka kung may gustong iparating, lalo na kapag hindi mo na kaya at kailangan mo ng tulong. Sounds. Makinig sa musika para ma-relax, gumanda ang mood, at maaliw habang nagtatrabaho. Sensation. Touch therapy? Why not? Magpamasahe paminsan-minsan para ma-relax ang isip at katawan. Stretching. Mag-exercise para ma-energize at gumanda ang pakiramdam. Socialize. Importanteng may support group ka tulad ng mga kaibigan at kapamilya na handang makinig sa'yo. Smile. Kahit gaano ka-stressful ang buhay, laging humanap ng dahilan para umiti at tumawa. Sports. Ang pagkakaroon ng active lifestyle ay mainam para sa isipan. Spirituality. Sandalan ang iyong pananalig at humugot ng lakas sa panalangin. At seek consultation. Ang stress ay pwedeng maging traumatic at makatutulong na lumapit sa isang profesional para kayo ay magabayan. Deserve mong alagaan ang sarili mo. Think positive. Stay happy. Dahil sa panahon na napaka-stressful, dapat laging listo.
congratulations sa DTI. Napakaganda ng programa ng DTI. In fact, when I was not yet in the government service, I was one of the founding directors of PCCI Quezon City, the Philippine Chamber of Commerce and Industry of Quezon City. And we always had a partnership or coordination with the Go Negosyo of DTI. And I was one of the mentors of PCCI. We conduct mentoring sessions in malls. So marami na rin ako, one-on-one yan eh. Marami ako na-lecturean na mga would-be entrepreneurs and business owners on the aspects of the business, how to start and how to expand and how to maintain or sustain their businesses. Kasi kasi ako although I'm a lawyer, my experience actually is not lawyering. No, I rarely appear in court. I don't handle criminal cases and so on. No? I was more of a corporate lawyer. So ang aking practice is more on corporate, on the business side. And I was president, board member, consultant of various corporations. So yung dyan sa mentoring, enjoy ako dyan kasi lahat ng aspects ng business startups and how to maintain, sustain, and all the aspects of managing a business, syempre sanay tayo doon. And I have joined a lot of mentoring sessions sa Mega Mall, sa dito sa North EDSA, sa may kung saan-saan pang mga lugar, no? And I hope I was able to help a lot of our would-be or budding entrepreneurs, no? Maganda yan yung ginagawa talaga ng DTI. And of course, the OTOP, the One Town, One Product program of which was started by former President Gloria Macapagal Arroyo because he was a DTI secretary prior to running as senator. And it was her program, yung OTOP. And until now, the DTI is sponsoring these programs. From time to time, I visit OTOP exhibits in Mega Mall, in dyan sa may SM Arena, SM Mall of Asia. Oo. So maraming mga dyan. Nakakarating pa ako kahit yung Tagaytay or in other towns na merong mga exhibits ng OTOP. And maraming mga nag-start dyan na talagang lumaki din. But what I have, ang isang na-notice ko lang is meron kayong program para dun sa to help the entrepreneurs in going to international market, no? And I noticed that when I am abroad, no, particularly in Singapore and in Hong Kong, meron mga Philippine products doon na naka-display na sa 7-Eleven. Alam niyo ba yung manghuan na chicharon? Nakita ko yan sa Hong Kong. Yung 7D mango, dried mango. Oo, nakikita ko yan even in Taiwan and in Singapore. Sa mga 7-Eleven and other stores na mga convenience stores nila, yung mga Circle Q na nakikita ko yung ibang produkto natin. And yung ating merong yung biscuits. Meron tayong mga biscuits, yung peanut butter cookies, mga gano'n. Nakikita ko yan sa mga stores sa abroad. So I hope i-expand pa natin yon, i-expand pa natin. By the way, our banana chips are #1 in international market. Talagang ang ginagawa pa nga dyan ng mga international resellers, nire-repackage nila. Ilalagay yung brand nila. But it comes from the Philippines. Yung ating mga coconut juice, it's from the Philippines, pero ang packaging nila ay yung owned by a foreign company, pero made in the Philippines. I hope we can expand this area with the help of the DTI. Sana hindi lang sa banana chips, sa dried mango or cookies. Marami na rin dapat iba pa. At ay napunak po dyan, gumaganda yung packaging nila. Unlike before, yung mga plastic lang na dinikit doon sa kandila, di ba? Ngayon, magaganda na, pang international na. Ang marami mga dried fruits in the market now, coming from mostly from Thailand. Siguro gayahin natin yon, no? Yung mga dried guava nila, dried guyabano, mga ganon, madami. Sana yon, hindi man tayo makapag-export agad ng mga electric vehicles, at least yung mga home industry na ganyan, matulungan natin. And what I have noticed also, which I also comment, is yung ginagawa naman ng Land Bank doon sa loans for enterprises run by women. No? Napakaganda nun. Kaya yun pala ang reason kung bakit na nag-increase ng 40% ang participation ng women in our labor force. Not necessarily employed in a factory or in companies, no? But ang meaning doon ng increase of women participation is yung kahit nasa bahay sila, may trabaho sila. And it is very, very a very good project, a laudable project, because kahit yung mga nasa bahay, pwede silang mag-start ng mga ganun businesses na hindi nila kailangang umalis ng bahay. No? Ano pa rin sila? May bahay na nasa bahay, naghahanap buhay. Napakaganda nun. So now we are going to wrap up our forum.
Thank you, Secretary. And again, thank you very much, Ms. Macareg, for presenting the programs and services of the DTI. Now, we came to the point of our program where we will be recognizing our distinguished source speakers and partner institutions for sharing their expertise and contributing to the success of this summit. On stage for the awarding of tokens and certificates.
GADWatch, the Magna Carta for Persons with Disabilities.
Meron tayong tinatawag na Magna Carta of Persons with Disabilities. So dito sa Magna Carta, pinag-uusapan yung principle or prinsipyo ng mga karapatang pantao ng mga persons with disabilities. Currently, we have 10 types of disabilities. Magkakaiba sila ng mga pangangailangan. Sa mga kababaihan na may kapansanan, tinitignan natin dito yung intersectionality na, diba, merong gender-based biases. Tapos meron siya another level of marginalization kasi may disability itong mga kababaihan na to. Double yung struggles nila and burdens nila is kakaiba din sa mga typical ng mga kababaihan. For example, wheelchair user na kababaihan, kung walang rampa. Paano yung accessibility ng mga health services? Hindi accessible ng mga toilets. Mas paigtingin dapat sa gender and development yung intersectionality pa. Hindi dapat naiiwan yung mga kababaihang may kapansanan. Sa Quezon City, we're implementing full automation ng ID registration. We're trying to provide initiatives per disability, per age group, per sex distribution. Kami yung unang nag-employ last 2023 ng mga persons with disabilities dito sa Lungsod, Quezon. Almost 300 persons with disabilities. So after that, may mga pumunta na sa amin ng mga private companies and they were employing persons with disabilities. Regular yung aming pag-endorse sa kanila. We call this the Kasama Ka sa QC, and we provide training programs, no, such as Safe Space Act, disability awareness and sensitivity, yung job readiness ng mga persons with disabilities.
Currently, we're working on the issuance of a unified Persons with Disability ID. This is to ensure also that the benefits and privileges afforded to persons with disability are not also abused and that it is given or extended to those really deserving and are in need. Yung ating mga persons with disabilities ay tinutulungan din po natin sa mga iba't ibang programa at serbisyo ng DSWD like the assistance to individuals in crisis situation. Meron din po tayo mga cash for work activities for persons with disabilities. Hindi dapat PWD kasi people first. We focus on the person, not on the disability. Person with disability siya.
Gadwatch.
Matagal nang mailap ang internet sa maraming lugar. May mga gurong handang magturo, mga batang puno ng pangarap. Ngunit kulang sa internet connection. Kaya sa utos ni Pangulong Ferdinand Marcos Jr., kumilos ang Department of Information and Communications Technology at ang Department of Education para magkaroon ng internet ang mga paaralan sa mga liblib na lugar. Noong nakaraang linggo, dinayo ng Pangulo ang Island School sa Binuangan Elementary School sa Ubando, Bulacan. Para tingnan ang estado ng koneksyon, nakita ng Pangulo, maayos na ang internet. May laptop at tablets na ngayon na dati mahirap makarating sa mga isla at liblib na komunidad.
Ang buong budget ng DepEd na napapakinabangan ho ng lahat ng stakeholders mula Batanes hanggang Tawi-Tawi.
Maging mga paaralan sa Basilan, dinayo ng DICT at unti-unting nagka-internet ngayon.
Kasama po namin si Secretary Henry po.
Si Sec. Asan na si mismo yata nagkakabit?
I'm Mr. President, Secretary, in Basilan, 189 schools na binigay sa aming assignment ni Seksani, 172 na yung nakakabit.
Dahil ang internet sa mga paaralan ay hindi lang basta signal, isa itong tulay para mas mapalapit ang kaalaman sa bawat silid-aralan. At sa bawat paaralang nakokonekta, may mga batang mas nabibigyan ng pag-asa.
Magkaroon lahat ng estudyante, magkaroon lahat ng guro ng kanilang kinakailangan na equipment at para maging mas maganda at mas maayos ang sistema natin sa pagtuturo.
Sa buong bansa, tuloy-tuloy ang trabaho. Isa-isang inaayos sa mga bagay na magpapagaan sa buhay ng ating mga kababayan. Para ang edukasyon ay mas maging abot kamay ng bawat batang Pilipino, anumang isla o lalawigan sa bansa.
Sa gitna ng mga isyong kinakaharap ng bawat Pilipino, muling ilalahad ng Pangulo ang kalagayan ng bansa. Ngayong July 27, buong puwersang magbabantay ang inyong People's Television mula Batasan Pambansa hanggang sa iba't ibang remote point sa Pilipinas. Sama-sama nating tutukan ang mga pangyayari sa telebisyon at sa lahat ng official digital platforms ng PTV. Ang ikalimang State of the Nation Address ni Pangulo Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. Dito sa inyong People's Television. Stay up to date on His Excellency President Ferdinand Marcos Jr.'s actions and initiatives this week as he leads the country in nation building. PBBM at Work. Ang tradisyon ng SONA ay formal na nagsisimula sa imbitasyon ng Kongreso sa Pangulo para dumalo sa joint session nito. Sa umaga, isinasagawa ng Senado at ng Kamara ang kani-kanilang sesyon. At pagkatapos ay sabay silang maghahain ng resolusyon na handa na nilang pakinggan ang ulat ng Pangulo. Pagdating ng hapon, sasalubungin na ng AFP Chief of Staff at ng mga Sergeant at Arms ng Senado at Kamara ang Pangulo sa kanyang pagdating sa batasang pambansa. Dadaan ang Pangulo sa Honor Guard at tutungo sa Presidential Legislative Liaison Office para sa courtesy call sa mga pinuno ng Senado at Kamara. Matapos ang courtesy call, tutungo na ang Pangulo sa Session Hall at i-aanunsyo na ng House Speaker ang kanyang pagdating bilang hudyat ng pagsisimula ng joint session ng Kongreso. Dito ilalahad ng Pangulo ang kanyang State of the Nation Address kung saan nakapaloob ang kanyang mga isinusulong na plano para sa bayan. Matapos ang sona ng Pangulo, ay sabay nang isasara ng Senado at Kamara ang joint session ng Kongreso.